Welcome back. It's another episode of The Good Gossip Podcast. And this is episode 003, our second with a live studio guest, which we're super excited to introduce you to. I'm Todd Revis.
I'm Melissa Elizondo.
Okay, and don't forget to hit subscribe. They have this thing with Apple Podcasts and some of the others where you can do 5 stars. We don't even know if that helps us, but if it does, click 5 stars, give us a review, tell us it was cool. Then other people, when they're searching for cool things to listen to, they might jump in. So, all right, I'm going to introduce our lovely guest today. She has lived in New Braunfels for 25 years. She built a home on the river. It's amazing, and it's high enough where it doesn't flood. I know that, pretty much. And although it's tickled your driveway a few times. So she's a single mom, and I bring that up because she accomplishes so much, and she works for Xerox, some kind of copiers and all kinds of electronic stuff, and she sells that, and she is like President's Club every year, meaning she's crushing it. She's very competitive, loves what she does. She's great at what she does. And so, Laura Jarrell,
Welcome to the show. Yeah, and I'm actually excited about this, guest, because like myself, you love to help people. And what I've heard about you is that when there is a need, you, especially one that you're very passionate about, that you just jump up and you get something going to help whatever that need is.
Yeah.
And so recently, this last year, there was a situation that happened. I want you to tell it from your side of what happened, and then we can get into the story of this good that you did.
Okay, well, it's not just me. I had a lot of help. So there was I'm part of a member of Moms in New Braunfels Uncensored. It's a local mothers group on Facebook. And there was an anonymous post about, from a lunch lady from a local school. And she was talking about how she couldn't handle taking away. I guess the way it works is if a child doesn't have enough money in their lunch account, they are given a sandwich. But the issue is they are allowed to walk through the line with a hot tray and actually maybe sometimes even go sit down with the tray, but then they take it away from them and throw it away and give them a sandwich. And there was a lady, she made an anonymous post that she actually worked at one of the schools, and that she just didn't know if she could do it anymore. She said she couldn't, it's embarrassing,
For the child.
And my understanding, this was an elementary school, so
it happens in
a young kid. I know it happens everywhere, but she worked in
an elementary school.
Yeah.
And so her whole thing was, why do you put it on the plate and hand it to them and then throw it away? If you're going to throw it away anyway, just give it to them.
Give a sandwich earlier,
right?
Or something.
Mm-hmm.
So my sister and I were tagged in that post. We're kind of known, we like to feed people. My father passed away in 2019, and he was known for always feeding everybody. He always wanted to, doesn't matter who you were, if he was angry at you, if he didn't like you, he still fed you.
You said, and that's kind of the root of how you became this feeder of people. You want to make sure everybody has something to eat, and you enjoy doing that. You mentioned off camera about one of your boyfriends in high school.
Yeah, my dad, he didn't particularly like any of the guys that I dated in high school, which, he was right, but whatever, we won't talk about that. But there was one particular guy, he was a football player, and he was as dumb as a box of rocks, but man, that guy liked to eat, and my dad hated him. But every time he'd come over, my dad would start on grilling, or defrosting steaks, unthawing, defrosting, whatever.
It's like hot water heater.
Just to see and watch him eat. He would sit there and just watch him eat, and he had this kind of
I'm feeding him, but I'm angry at him.
We'll feed you, but then I'm no. So he
just because I feed you doesn't mean I like you.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of, my sister's the same way. We always, even if we don't like you, we're going to feed you anyways. Just the way it is. We don't want to see people hungry.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, Shannon and I were tagged in this post, and so that got her going about starting to GoFundMe to pay off the lunch debt. Because our thing is, we understand if kids, and this isn't for the free lunches. This is for children who have a lunch account and they have to pay every, and sometimes the parents fall behind, which if you fall behind a little bit, they'll let you slide. But these kids are $40, $50 behind, and they have to get a sandwich. Our thing was, we'll give it to them at the beginning of the line, and then they go sit down. And throughout this, we've heard that in high school, the lunch lady was telling me there that some of the kids won't even try because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be embarrassed to do that. So, anywho.
And that's a different time in their life when they're very impressionable and really worried about starting to understand that, or starting to worry that what people think about them.
Yeah.
And so that can have an effect psychologically, for sure.
Definitely.
So we're not here to beat up the school and all that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I pray that it's being dealt with on a district level. Of course, COVID comes along, and then so you never really got a chance to go before the board or to say,
we'll worry about. We're going to get there.
You'll get there, but COVID sort of paused that.
Well, kind of, sort of. COVID actually prompted more out of that because we started a GoFundMe and we raised a couple $1,000s, and so we went to the schools and we started paying off the lunch debt. And throughout that, we found out that this is very widespread. It's a very big problem. So we wanted more money. So we said, okay, well, we're not done. We want to do more schools. And so then COVID hit. And so we had this couple $1,000s or so in the GoFundMe. So we decided, okay, well, what are we going to do? Because COVID hit, and it was the week before we were going to go to the school board and talk to them about it. So Mr. Granzin, I connected with Mr. Granzin from Granzin's Barbecue, and we made boxes of frozen meat, and we delivered them to about 30, 50 families. I can't remember what it was. Well,
how did the families know you were doing this, or how did you know which families needed it?
I don't remember. I think because of the posts on Facebook, or all the different posts that people were recommending other people or referring, and actually the lunch ladies sent me names of some families.
Nice.
So then Rob Cardenas from the food truck saw one of my posts, and he says, well, I want to get involved.
What's the name of the food truck?
FM 31?
FM 31 Barbecue, yeah.
Sweet.
So he saw it, and so he was like, well, I want to get involved in this. And then Bob Wilson from Billy's Ice House. And then I had another anonymous donor that said, hey, we want to get involved in this. And I was like, okay. So then it just started spiraling from there. And so then this is right when COVID is March, April of last year, when everything was shutting down.
Yeah.
So I got together with Rob, and we started making food, or he made the food. I didn't make the food. I just handed out the food. Right. So every week, for about 6 to 8 weeks, I think we ended up feeding about 600, 700 families. They would come, the guy that owns the Downtowner, he let us park in front of there, and the people would come in, pick up their food ready to go, and we wore masks and everything. So,
that's awesome.
So we did that.
I talked to Rob last night. He said even people who needed food, that you heard needed food, and they didn't have a means to come get it, that you would deliver it to them, and that you also fed the people who lived under the bridge, the homeless people, that you would take food down to them too.
Well, I had a lot of volunteers, so
You've
a lot
been
of my
accused.
friends.
It
wasn't me. It was God and my friends. It
Yeah.
wasn't me. I just have a big mouth, and I just make people give me money.
Sounds like you're a catalyst for.
I'm a catalyst. Okay, that's good.
Well,
I'm
but
good.
and I forgot to say this in the intro, but
Yeah.
one of the reason that we wanted Laura on the show is because when catastrophe happens, when something bad happens, whether it's a natural disaster or just unfairness, you respond.
I like chaos.
You don't think about it.
No,
You
I'm
just
just
go,
kidding.
how do I fix it? How do I fix it?
I like
and
chaos
a lot of
to
people,
fix chaos.
right.
Like,
But a lot of people, there are a lot of people that do that. There are a lot of people who think about it and then don't do it. And I think that's the majority of people.
I've been through a few floods here, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you
we were talking last night about when it floods in Houston and all the rednecks get their John boats and go. That's that same type of person. And when
There are some people who just step up. I always heard that when disaster happens, look.
Well, I got to do
because
something.
people
I
show
can't
up.
I can't sit there. When
Yeah.
COVID hit and I saw all these people, on Facebook that they lost their jobs or they, didn't know where the food was going to come. When I saw, we're hungry, that infuriates me. I have to feed them, figure out some way, to feed them. And
There's such a huge-
Rob was amazing.
Yeah,
He cooked so many meals. I mean,
He
we
makes
fed
great food too.
hundreds of people a
how do
week.
you know him?
Rob and I have done some events together, but through the HBA, through the Hispanic Business Alliance, we met there originally, and then he's been at a couple festivals that we.
He's always parked right in front of downtown, right?
And we only planned to do it for like 1 week maybe, but people just kept donating. People just kept donating money, and I'm like, as long as y'all give me money, I will find the people, And we went over to Connections, and took some Tanya and took some food over to the kids over there. Yeah. It was fun. I had a blast.
So
I would do it every week. I would do it. It's fun.
That's actually how I heard the initial connection. When I was a teenager, I lived at Connections as a teenager during a different part of my life, and so I still.
You mean you're not perfect?
What?
You're not perfect?
I wish.
No, that's what this podcast really is all about for me, is that we all have stories. We all have back stories, and none of us are perfect. And my new thing is we're all broken. You're broken, I'm broken. So we're broken together.
I'm way broken.
Yeah, you're way.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're all broken. And so we shouldn't be judging each other.
Right.
We should be helping each other. We should be seeing past what we think, and if you've known somebody for 10 years and you haven't talked to them in 5 years, they're not the same person they were,
Right.
because we're always getting better. We have our ups and downs, and if my favorite phrase, if you think you know me because you knew me, you don't know me.
Right.
Because I'm not the guy I was 10 years ago. I'm not the guy I was 5 years ago. I'm growing. And so I love living in this broken world where everyone's broken. And so how dare I think I'm better than you or you, because I don't have the same broken piece that you do, right?
But I don't know. I just want to give like a shout out to all these people who step up. Like I really see you as a catalyst. Like you said, you talk. And because you talk,
all I do.
the word gets out.
When you get mad, you ask for money.
I just have a big mouth. That's all. I mean, if all the friends, like all my friends came and delivered the food, because there's a lot of people that couldn't even leave the house. There was a lot of elderly that couldn't leave the house. I know one of my friends, she knew of a retirement community that the people, they couldn't leave because they were, locked down. She went, got bags and bags of meals and delivered them to these, these elderly. And I just have a big mouth. That's really,
But that's your
it's
big
my
mouth
friends. It's my friends and the people that donated, and Rob, and people like Bob Wilson that donated. I mean, they did everything.
Yeah, but you're the catalyst. You're the one that yelled at him and said, because you have a big mouth, you're able to communicate that. I do think there are a lot of closet Lauras out there that they think of ideas and man, I would, but then they'd sit there and tell themselves a story that probably can't really help that many people, or who do I know? So I would encourage people to just do that. Like, if you think of it, do it. And
if you
you're gonna
speak
help
up,
somebody.
you're amazed at how many people need help and how many people want to help. Yeah. But they don't know, the people that need help don't know where to ask, and the people that want to help don't know where to go.
Yeah. And in my marketing agency, I had several of my clients that are doing fine, and it said, if you know anybody who needs help, we'll give them free services, we'll give them free this, we'll give free that. So, we did the same thing. We just tried to get the word out so that they could also provide for people. That was the one thing that I think came out of this crisis. I know that people are getting angrier and angrier and, complain about the weirdness of what's going on with COVID. But there's so many people like you even who good things have happened and have come out of COVID. And we stepped up and we helped each other. Even recently with the winter storm, I loved how the town came together and we're telling people when there was groceries on the shelf, when the roads are bad, don't get out. And they used social media as a platform so they could tell people, hey, it's safe, it's not safe, do this, do that. If this happens, you can take care of it this way. People fill up your tubs with water because it's going to freeze, So just really trying to help each other. And I love that village mentality. And you have that village mentality, I think, probably mainly because your dad, but even he got it from somebody else. And that's probably something that you passed on to your kids. In fact, didn't you tell me something about one of her kids?
One of her kids, Dylan?
I don't know what the story is. But
do you have a son named Dylan?
Yes.
He's her middle kid, middle boy. And he, every time I see him, he's doing something else great. He's about to graduate from college, which is amazing. At one time, he was delivering produce.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, he was
only like 17, 16 years old.
Yeah, him and Zach started a vegetable delivery service. And so they were delivering vegetables for $25 a bag.
We ordered a couple of boxes every now and then, or a bag now and then.
And they stopped because they were driving all over San Antonio. They were going past Seguin, and it just wasn't, they didn't really have it organized per se, but they were out delivering vegetables, and I would pick them up from the produce terminal downtown San Antonio. We'd come home and we'd bag them up, and we were delivering, but they ended up spending so much money in gas.
It was a good experience.
They wouldn't say no to anybody. They would say, okay, we'll be there. So they would drive all the way past Canyon Lake for one bag of $25.
You spend that in gas.
I love it though. I call it the building the plane while you're flying.
Yes, which is typically how we do things in my family.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
but that's good experience. I mean, it shows that there is that bug. That gene did travel past you, and so it's going to be fun to see what your boys.
Well, my dad was one of 11 children, and they, so I think they.
And it was a time
struggling to eat, I guess.
They lived out in Seguin area? Or?
No, they're from West Virginia. My dad's side, and my mom's side was from Indiana. So.
And that time in the world,
they were coal miners, and
they were, and it was, it was one of those things. If your barn burns down, everybody comes over and helps you build the barn, right? That was a different time.
Yes.
And I guess a different.
But if you take my moonshine, I'll shoot you.
Right.
Yeah, there's limits to my kindness.
There's limits to my kindness.
I love it. So, I just want to thank you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
I know this is my first time meeting you in person, and I just love the light that you have in you and that what you're doing in this community. And I know you're super humble about it, and you're so nervous.
I do not like this at all. I'm very nervous.
I swear
Are you less nervous now than when we first started?
I asked my sister, because my sister's the professor of dramatic media at TLU, and she's been in movies, she's done films, and she does commercials all the time. They're doing music video right now. I asked her if she would come on instead of me because she's so good at this. She's so good, but she does have Theater for Change, so you can invite her next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that lead us into our final segment?
So.
All right. So we could probably talk to you for hours. I know there's 12 more stories we didn't get to.
I know, and we're in sales. You're in sales. We could talk.
We're all in sales.
But people don't want to listen to us that long.
Probably not.
Okay.
But I do want to. We have a segment in our show that we're trying to do where, towards the end, we want to ask you to gossip in a good way about someone you know. And it's a nice segue because you were just talking about your sister, and I think that's where you want to go with that. So tell us a little bit about your sister.
So, well, two things. So Shannon has an organization called Theater for Change, and what she tries to do is pair nonprofits with theater. So, for example, with foster children, Little Orphan Annie or something like that, where she'll try to pair nonprofits with a cause, and it's great. So she's got that, and then she also got me involved with TruLight127, which is a foster children organization. TruLight Village is out in Marion. Sandra started that a few years ago, and now I believe there's I don't want to misspoke. That's not even a word. Like 36 misspoke. I know. Did I go to school? Did I even?
You put yourself through college
and I know.
after you ran away.
Oh, well. Okay.
That's one of the 12 stories.
Tell everybody this. Okay. Yes, I did run away. Yes.
And put yourself through college.
But I put myself through college, so yeah.
As a waitress.
Okay. Stop. No,
Anyways, yeah.
So Sandra has TruLight Village out in Marion, and every year we try to. I yell at people again to give me toys. She does. Last year we did Christmas for 250 foster children. So my friend Maria, that runs the Dollar General, and my friends Stacy and Jennifer that own Got Toys, they help me get toys every year, and so we try to give Christmas to about 250 foster kids. And my sister actually adopted 2 foster children. I don't even know, 6 or 7 years ago now.
Wow.
And so that's my passion, and what Sandra does is amazing.
Yes,
and
I've heard great things.
They should be your next guests.
A lot of people know that exists, and that's great. I'm helping organize a golf tournament in June at Landa Park, and one of the charities is going to be TruLight, and that's the first time I ever heard of it. So that could be cool, and maybe you could come play with us.
And then they have I don't.
No,
you can drive a golf cart around.
I got tagged on Facebook this morning. They're having an event in April, the Blue Jean Ball.
The Blue Jean Ball. There's 50 tickets left.
Were you trying to be smooth and segue, or was that totally real and candid?
You forgot until you just now read.
So the Blue Jean Ball is.
The Blue Jean Ball is Saturday, April 10th. It starts at 6:30. The doors open. And it is Child Abuse Awareness Month in April. And so it's at the big Embassy Suites Hotel on 35 at McCarty. Everybody knows where that is. And basically, you can buy individual tickets for $100. And if you text Blue Jean 2021, Blue Jean 2021 to 797979, I think you should just go to the website. That'd be easier.
TruLight127.org.
There you go. And so there's going to be a bunch of fun, and you can donate to this great cause. Spasmatics are going to be there.
I know.
It's going to be a big party.
I know.
But you're supposed to wear jeans.
Yeah. Well, it's a Blue Jean Ball.
Yeah.
It's
not like a fancy,
It's amazing. And the work she does, she tries to focus on sibling groups. And so, because those are the hardest to be adopted or fostered is sibling groups. So she tries to really focus on bringing sibling groups together and keeping them together through the adoption process. So it's amazing. She's amazing.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If you Google adoptions or adoption stats or kids, orphan stats, it's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. All right, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. You're awesome.
You did it.
Yeah, you did it. You made it through.
No, I don't know if I want to call it Eric because I call this. Can you turn that light off?
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for helping us out. And I just think it was super fun. And so don't forget to subscribe, share, like, all those good things.
If you know any people that you want to have on the show, any kind of good gossip that you want to share, tag us on Instagram, tag us on Facebook, comment on YouTube.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah, mean people.
Be a kinder
Be a
human.
kinder human.
Please be
Show
nice.
her kiss.
Mean people suck.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next
All
time.
right, see you next time.